It is with a deep sense of pride and pleasure that my wife and I join you here today as we witness Canadians coming together in a renewed sense of national pride, unity and hope. This is my 20th visit to Canada, spread over the course of more than half a century, and my first as sovereign, which is recognized across the world for bravery and sacrifice in defense of national values and for the diversity and kindness of Canadians. At those places and many others, forever etched into our memories, Canadians fought and died alongside our closest allies.
What happens when a world leader becomes the butt of every international meeting? Macron, King Charles, and even Canada are making moves that scream, "No thanks, Trump," loud and clear. But why now? And what's the master plan behind sidelining the US so aggressively? Stick around. It's more embarrassing for Trump than you think. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great. Thank you so much. Now back to the video. What does it look like when the rest of the world starts actively ignoring you? For Trump's America, let's just say it's a bit like showing up to a party and realizing no one saved you a seat. Trump's America First slogan might have sounded snappy at rallies, but let's be real. It's been more of an America alone policy on the global stage. His approach has turned former allies into exasperated spectators, watching him burn bridges while shouting through a megaphone about building walls. Take Emmanuel Macron, for example. While Trump has spent years treating global relationships like bad business deals, quick, transactional, and self-serving, Macron has gone full team-building mode.
I would like to acknowledge that we are gathered on the unceded territory of the Algonquin and Anishinaabe people. As I've said before, every time I come to Canada, a little more of Canada seeps into my bloodstream, and from there straight to my heart. De Victoria, en Colombie-Britannique, et d'Arviat au Nunavut. It is my great hope that in each of your communities, and collectively as a country, a path is found toward truth and reconciliation in both word and deed.
The French president has been busy shaking hands and schmoozing leaders across Asia, not as a rival to Trump's America, but as a flat-out replacement. On his recent tour, Macron wasn't just speaking about economic cooperation. He was framing it as a new joint future. Meanwhile, Trump, his most memorable Southeast Asian headline involves a controversial golf deal in Vietnam. Big swing, but definitely a miss. Macron's Indo-Pacific strategy is the cherry on top. It's all about forging tighter trade alliances and boosting multilateral cooperation between nations like India, Japan, and Australia. This isn't just about boosting France's influence. It's a deliberate way to sidestep the United States. Previously, this would have been America's gig, the global power rallying other nations to create a strong front. But now, Trump's America looks less like the headliner and more like a forgotten roadie with questionable fashion choices. And let's be honest, Trump's fixation on short-term, what's in it for me, deals isn't exactly helping in the long run.
This land acknowledgement is a recognition of shared history as a nation, while continuing to deepen my own understanding. You have welcomed my family and myself to your traditional lands with great warmth and hospitality, for which I am humbly grateful. While the world faces unprecedented challenges, generating uncertainties across the continents with regards to peace and stability,
Macron's pivot to being the bridge builder feels like a not-so-subtle response to Trump's obsession with barriers. Each handshake and partnership says, "We're open for business," while Trump's isolationism screams, "Closed until further notice." And those fences, you'd be shocked how fast global leaders will walk right around them. So while Macron is rebranding Europe into the reliable partner the world needs, Trump's leadership is looking more like a case study in what not to do. And Macron isn't alone. Wait until you hear how other leaders, like King Charles, are also stepping over the US like a speed bump. When even Canada, America's polite next-door neighbor, starts saying, "Nah, we're good," you know there's trouble brewing. Enter King Charles, who's about to roll into town and deliver a speech from the throne, a moment thick with political symbolism. It's Canada's way of reminding the world that their ties to the Commonwealth run deep, with or without America waving awkwardly from the sidelines. And yes, this distancing might have a lot to do with Donald Trump's antics. Let's talk moves Canada's been making. For starters, there's a growing push against tourism to the US and an outright boycott of American products. It's like ghosting Trump with extra flair, right down to the politics of online platforms. While Trump's policies on disinformation turned into a circus of conspiracy theories and finger-pointing, Canada is fully focused on tackling racism, propaganda, and anti-Semitism in the digital space. It's a direct flex, showcasing how they're solving problems Trump hasn't even managed to define coherently. But here's where the breakup gets spicy. Former Canadian MP Charlie Angus calls this shift Canada's way of recalibrating its alliances, a deliberate pivot back toward Commonwealth nations like Australia and New Zealand. Think of it as sending the US a text that reads, "It's not me, it's you."
It has been nearly 70 years since the Sovereign first opened Parliament. In the time since, Canada has dramatically changed. Economics and climate change, your communities have the skills and determination to bring a wealth of solutions. Repatriating its constitution, achieving full independence, and witnessing immense growth.
Angus even pointed out how Canada's history with the UK, helping defend British borders during World War II, for example, underscores a shared sense of values. It's about democracy, the rule of law, and not, say, inviting a coup leader to run again. And then there's King Charles's visit itself, which comes across as more than just fancy royal PR. Angus straight up called it a message to the world. Canada's allegiance to the Commonwealth is alive and thriving, and they're over-leaning on Trump's America. It's a mic drop moment, showing how world leaders are reorganizing while the US stumbles. But this trend isn't just global shade-throwing. Trump's plummeting relevance abroad mirrors a deeper collapse of influence at home. The cracks in his leadership are bursting wide open, and that's where we're headed next. Trump's isolationist policies haven't just sidelined the US. They've handed the steering wheel to leaders like Macron and King Charles. While Trump fixates on walls and withdrawal, Macron is locking in global partnerships. And Canada, with King Charles's nod, is saying, "We'll figure this out without you." The message is clear. The world isn't waiting for Trump to catch up. So, is it time to rethink how America handles diplomacy? Because sitting out isn't working. As the world moves on to new alliances and strategies, the US risks fading into the background, all thanks to Trump's me-first politics.